You know what's heartbreaking? Most people will go through their entire lives and never even try to. They'll say, one day I'll start that business. One day I'll build something of my own. But one day becomes next year, then it becomes never. And the brutal truth? Someone else is already building your idea, duh. Not because they're smarter, duh. Not because they're richer, duh. But because they started. Right now, someone out there is launching your dream while you're still hesitating, duh. They're not better, they're just braver. Let me say this straight, if you're watching this, it's not by accident, duh. You feel it too, duh. That pull, duh. Like you were meant to create something, duh. Something bigger than a job, bigger than routine, duh. But you've been stuck, in a 9 to 5 you hate, in fear, in doubt, in comfort. So let's destroy the myth that's been holding you back. You don't need to be a genius to succeed. You don't need a business degree or a perfect plan. You just need one thing, the courage to start. When I started Zip2, I had no safety net, duh. No connections, duh. No guarantee, duh. I was sleeping under my desk and eating hot dogs at night just to survive, duh. People laughed at the idea, duh. They said, this won't work. They called PayPal stupid, duh. They called Tesla insane, duh. And SpaceX? They literally laughed, like it was a joke. But here's the thing, we did it anyway. Not because we were sure it would work, duh. But because not trying was worse than failing. Most people wait for the perfect time. But there is no perfect time, duh. The perfect time is when you decide it's time. You don't need to be extraordinary to start, duh. But you do need to start to become extraordinary. So let me ask you this. Are you going to keep watching others build your dreams? Or are you finally ready to build your own? Because part 2 is where the real shift happens, where we uncover your first step and the secret to finding the right idea. And if you're still with me now, I believe you're ready. Here's where 99% of people fail before they even begin. They don't solve a real problem, duh. They chase trends, copy ideas, build what's easy. But let me ask you, would you buy something that doesn't fix anything? That's why Zip2 was born, duh. Back then, newspapers didn't have maps or directions online, duh. I thought, this is dumb. Why can't people find a local business or directions in one place? So I fixed it, duh. Not to get rich, duh. But because the problem annoyed me. You want to start a business in 2025? Start by solving something that pisses you off. Don't start with the question, what can I sell? Start with this, what's broken in my life that nobody's fixing? And don't wait for inspiration, duh. Look around, long lines, duh. Glitchy apps, duh. Bad service, duh. Outdated systems, duh. I promise, your next big idea is hiding inside one of your daily frustrations. But here's the trap, most people spot a problem and say, someone should fix that. Be that someone. Because the harsh truth? Your first version is going to suck, duh. And that's okay. The first Tesla prototype? It looked like a kid built it in a garage, duh. Seriously, duh. But it ran, duh. And that was enough. Your version 1 isn't supposed to impress the world. It's supposed to get started. The graveyard of entrepreneurship is filled with perfect ideas that never launched. People wait too long, duh. They try to make it flawless before showing it to anyone, duh. But perfection kills progress, duh. What builds momentum is launching something real. If it's useful, it wins, duh. Even if it's ugly, duh. Even if it's small. This is where most give up, in what I call the hell zone. It's month 7, duh. You're broke, duh. Nobody's buying, duh. Your friends go quiet, duh. Your family thinks you've lost your mind. That's when most people walk away. But the 1% who push through, they're the ones who build legacies. I lived in that zone, duh. 3 failed rocket launches, duh. 0 margin for error, duh. SpaceX was days from death. And then, flight number 4 worked, duh. Everything changed. So don't let the rough beginning fool you, duh. If you're building something that actually matters, you're supposed to struggle. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be persistent. Because the world rewards the ones who show up, not the ones who hesitate. In part 3, I'll walk you through how to launch your version 1 the right way, find your first 10 users, and build momentum, without wasting time or money. If you're waiting for the perfect moment to launch, you're stalling, duh. If you're polishing your idea for the 10th time instead of testing it, you're delaying your future, duh. Here's the truth, version 1 is supposed to be ugly. Tesla's first prototype? Looked like a weird science project. SpaceX? Failed 3 rockets in a row, duh. But those failures got us moving. If you're not at least a little embarrassed by your first launch, you waited too long. Stop obsessing over branding, logos, websites da. Build something that actually works da. Even if it's messy. Even if it breaks da. Just make it useful. Forget chasing thousands of customers da. Focus on 10 da. Just 10 real people whose lives are slightly better because of what you built da. If 10 people deeply care, 10,000 will follow. But how do you find those first 10? You don't sit around da. You don't spam ads da. You talk to people da. Real conversations. Join online communities da. Browse forums da. Talk to customers in the comments da. Ask what frustrates you most about your product category? Then build something that removes that pain. Here's what most people miss: feedback beats theory da. You don't need advice from your friends da. You need truth from your users. When we were building early Tesla models, we didn't ask, "Do you like it?" We asked, "What don't you like, and why?" Every complaint is a compass. If someone tells you it's confusing, don't argue, fix it. If they say, "I don't get the value," don't explain harder, rebuild the pitch. You're not here to be right. You're here to learn. Now let's talk about something few founders understand: don't build for investors. Build for users. People think if they get funding, the hard part is over da. No. If users don't care, your company dies, money or not. When something solves a real problem, users talk da. And when users talk, investors listen. Tesla didn't buy ads da. People bought Teslas, told their friends, and the word spread. Build something worth talking about, and the growth takes care of itself. You also need what I call your unfair advantage. It could be deep expertise da. Speed da. A unique insight da. Even just relentless execution. At SpaceX, our unfair advantage was reusable rockets da. At Tesla, battery efficiency. What's yours? Ask yourself, what do I know that others don't? What have I lived through that gives me a real edge? Or, am I willing to outwork everyone else? You don't need a fancy label da. You need something others can't easily copy. Let me say this again, your first product doesn't need to be brilliant. It needs to be real da. It needs to be in people's hands da. And it needs to solve something. In part 4, I'll show you exactly how to take your first product, grow it into a real business, and how to avoid the mistakes that kill 90% of startups. So, your version 1 is out da. It's ugly. It barely works da. But guess what? You're further than 99% of people. Now comes the next phase, turning momentum into structure. This is where most people panic da. They either scale too fast, or freeze da. But here's the secret: don't scale chaos. Simplify first. Before you even think about hiring, advertising, or raising money, ask yourself, is this working because it's good, or just lucky? At X.com, before PayPal, we grew fast, maybe too fast da. The product had bugs da. We ignored signs da. That nearly broke the company. So here's your checkpoint. Asterisk, are people using your product without you chasing them? Asterisk, are they telling others on their own? Asterisk, are they paying you and coming back? If the answer to any of those is no, stop scaling. Start fixing. More features won't save a broken foundation da. More ads won't fix a bad experience da. More people won't fix bad direction. You need clarity, not volume. Now, how do you know what to fix? You listen da. You talk to every early customer da. You track everything, where they click da. Where they quit da. What they say da. What they don't say. Early stage companies don't die from competition da. They die from confusion. Your job is to remove every point of friction. Make it easier. Faster. More obvious. Your next challenge. Hiring. Most founders think, I'll just get help. Wrong. Your first hires will define your company's DNA da. And if you get it wrong, it's hard to undo. Here's my rule: only work with people you'd be okay being stuck on a spaceship with da. That's how I picked the SpaceX team da. Not by resumes, by mindset. You don't need fancy degrees da. You need people who asterisk solve hard problems. Asterisk don't complain. Asterisk take ownership like it's their own company. Don't hire friends just because they're close da. Don't keep average people just to fill roles. A small team of killers beats a big team of babysitters. And don't outsource your core work da. If you're not writing the code, selling the product, or building the pitch, it's not really your company. Be in the trenches da. That's how you gain speed and respect da. That's how you keep control when the storm hits. Now let's talk money. You don't need investors to succeed. You need customers. But if you do raise money, know this, investors bet on momentum, not ideas. They want to see that you move fast, fix fast, and don't panic. If you can show asterisk a real product, asterisk real users, asterisk real growth, you're already in the top 1%. But you must always know your burn rate. How many months can you survive with zero revenue? Reduce costs early. Stay lean. Be relentlessly resourceful. Don't think like a CEO. Think like a builder. At SpaceX, after 3 failed launches, we had cash for 1 more rocket. Just 1. That 4th launch saved the company. And it happened because we learned fast, cut waste, and stayed focused. So here's your rule: build something people want. Talk to users. Stay lean. Fix fast. Move faster. In Part 5, I'll walk you through how to protect your time, your focus, and your mission once growth really begins. Because that's when distractions show up. Growth feels exciting. People start noticing. Money comes in. You hire. You expand. And then, you lose clarity. Not all at once. But piece by piece. Your calendar fills up. Your inbox explodes. Your team pulls you in 10 directions. This is the part no one warns you about: success becomes distraction. So how do you win without losing yourself? You protect your time like your life depends on it. Because it does. Here's my rule: control the first hour of your day, or the next 16 hours will control you. At SpaceX, during critical launch windows, I blocked off 2 hours a day. No meetings. No calls. Just thinking. That saved the mission more than any conference room ever could. You don't need more hours. You need more focus. Here's how. Step 1. The weekly reset. Every Sunday night or Monday morning, I do a mental reboot. Asterisk I write down every open loop, decisions I'm delaying, people I need to reply to, things that drain me. Asterisk then I sort them into 3 buckets. 1. Trash, doesn't matter, delete it. 2. Later, not urgent, schedule it. 3. This week, must be done now. This alone clears 70% of my mental clutter. Then I ask, if I only accomplish one thing this week, what would make everything else easier or irrelevant? That's my true north. Everything else is background noise. Step 2. Audit your inputs. If you consume 100 opinions a day, but only create once a week, you're drowning in noise. Try this. Asterisk 1 weekend, no social media. Asterisk no news. Asterisk just a notebook and your thoughts. You'll realize how much of your life isn't yours, it's reactions to others. Your brain needs white space to innovate. You're not a robot. You're the architect. But the architect needs quiet to see the full blueprint. Step 3. Fix the start problem. Most people say, I don't feel like doing it. So they wait. And wait. The trick? Don't wait for motivation. Just start. I don't say, I'll write for 3 hours. I say, open the document. Write 1 paragraph. That's it. Because action creates momentum. And momentum builds motivation, not the other way around. If I feel stuck for more than 3 days, I create something, even if it sucks. A sketch. A sentence. A prototype. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. And here's something powerful. When you feel overwhelmed, you don't need more advice. You need one decision: what matters now? In December 2008, Tesla was broke. SpaceX had failed its 3rd launch. I had to borrow money for rent. But instead of planning 5 years ahead, I sat alone and wrote 1 sentence: what matters now? That line saved everything. In Part 6, I'll walk you through how to build a mindset that survives chaos, turns failure into fuel, and keeps your fire burning even when everything seems lost. By now, you've launched. You've fought through setbacks. You've learned, adapted, and built something real. But let me tell you the truth most founders won't say out loud: burnout doesn't always look like collapse. Sometimes it looks like numbness. Like waking up and feeling nothing. No spark. No fire. Just going through the motions. And when that happens, you need a system, not just inspiration. Because if you wait for feeling better, you might be waiting forever. Here's the exact mental reboot I use when everything feels like too much. Step 1. Separate the story from the facts. When you fail, your brain creates a painful story: I'm cursed. I'm not good enough. This always happens. Stop. Write down just the facts. No emotion. No judgment. Example, user numbers dropped. Feedback was negative. 2 clients cancelled. That's real. But you are not a failure. Facts empower. Stories paralyze. Step 2. Build a counterforce identity. When most people fail, they shrink. They become small, cautious, quiet. I do the opposite. I say, this is where legends are made. Because if you rise in this moment, not when things are smooth, but when it's painful, that becomes part of your identity. You now have proof that you're resilient. You don't just survive storms. You learn how to dance in the rain. Step 3. Reduce the battle to one action. When you're overwhelmed, stop planning 10 steps ahead. Instead, just do one thing. Send the email. Make the call. Write the page. Take the walk. Sleep. Courage is built in milliseconds. Not by thinking, by acting. And action rebuilds confidence. Step 4. Declare war on fear. Ask yourself right now, what matters more, your fear or your mission? You can't serve both. Choose the mission. Then say it out loud, I will either succeed or die trying. That's the kind of internal gravity that attracts people, resources, and momentum. Because people don't follow hype, they follow conviction. Final truth, you were meant to build. If you've made it this far, you're not here to play small. You weren't born to scroll through life. You were born to build something that outlives you. And yes, it's hard. There will be panic attacks. Lonely nights. Moments where quitting looks easier than breathing. But if you stay in the fight, if you stay focused, if you don't quit, you win. Not all at once. But piece by piece. Product by product. Version by version. Just like I did. So now, you're faced with a choice. Scroll to the next video? Or use this moment as a turning point. Because the difference between the ones who build and the ones who don't? One more try. That's it.